Hey guys, welcome to the Artisan channel. As you can tell from the past upload, the date, it's been a while. Since COVID-19, life has been hitting hard, and of course content creation has been affected by a lot of the things going on and stuff like that. My workload was crazy, a lot of weight on my shoulders, and I just wasn't in the right mindset to upload videos, and I didn't. I preferred, and I kept putting off putting some community posts on my situation, stuff like that, but I wasn't sure if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff. And I am not really a veteran content creator, but that will be changing soon. I'll be uploading a lot more video, a lot more volume. Of course, I prefer quality over quantity, but once we talk about handhelds like the Miyoo MINI, I think having an extra couple of videos uploaded by Sided to teach you guys more about this handheld and maybe do some customizations, do some extra stuff that probably will be very interesting. So stay tuned on the Miyoo MINI and other handhelds that will be coming in the mail soon. Of course, I got like 4 handhelds coming in, and I will be concentrating on them as well beside the Miyoo MINI, but definitely I've had a blast with this handheld. I really like it. Banggood has sent it out to me, and it is the version 2, so that's why it is quite relevant. The battery, as you can see, is a bigger capacity one, and it looks different than the other one, the replaceable ones. This one is kind of wired in there, but it has a connector. But I don't suggest that you take this battery like multiple batteries with you, because this is quite volatile and it can puncture and stuff like that. Well, in this video we'll be taking an initial look at the Miyoo MINI version 2 and see what kind of the differences are and how I like it with the high resolution screen and the OCA laminated screen, which is the shining part of this revision of the handheld. They have been talking about releasing transparent shells for it, and I've seen them float around on the internet. At the time of uploading, I don't know if it's available yet or not, but if it's available, I'll be snagging one of those, and then I'll be showing it off on the channel while doing some customizations. Most of the handles that I have, I'll be customizing, let's say the buttons, stuff like that. By the way, I love the analog pocket, so the black iteration of this handheld is really interesting. I'll be leaving links in the description down below to the Banggood webpage. I'm affiliated with Banggood, so a small portion will be going to me. If you want to support the channel, please check out Banggood, and there are their handhelds on there via the link in the description. So let's, without further ado, get into the video and check out the Miyoo MINI. So what came in the box is a instruction manual, which we will not read, but you can read in your free time, and a SD card reader. It is a 2.0 SD card reader, not too fast, and I recommend you to use 3.0, of course, because it has faster transfer speeds when you put your games on there. And this is a USB Type-C cable for charging only, not for data transfer, so that's something you got to keep in mind. And the actual enclosure. Yes, this did not come in a cardboard box. It came with bubble wrap, and this pouch came with it, which is straight to the point, and I like that because it's more environmental friendly and I don't hold on to those boxes, so this is a lot more useful to me. I can slide this into my pocket, into my bag, and enjoy the Miyoo MINI and be, of course, secure that it is protected by this pouch, because I want it to be pristine at all times. Now, of course, everything came into this retainer over here that I just mentioned, and of course, the Miyoo MINI came in a plastic bag, very nicely covered and protected. It had a disposable screen protector that you can just peel off. It's flimsy, but it protected the screen very well through the shipment. Now let's pull out the Miyoo MINI and admire its look. The Miyoo MINI, of course, here is a 2.0 version. I peeled off this Miyoo MINI sticker because it kind of had a lot of bubbles beneath it, and I put it onto the battery to be safe and have all the information that I need at hand. This is a 2000 milliampere battery, as you can see over here. 100 milliamperes extra over the last iteration, and this is not replaceable easily by just taking with you other mobile phone batteries that are compatible with this device. So it's kind of a bummer I don't think that's a big upgrade, 100 milliamperes, and those were very nice that you could just carry around extra batteries with you. But this is how you know that you have the version 2. The good thing about the version 2 is the screen, which we'll get into very soon. Now, this is the size. The size is exactly like a bank card, or let's say a business card, you know, those types of cards. It's the same size, and compared to the RG280V, which is a similar type of device which came out 2 years ago, I loved it a lot, and once again, I love the Miyoo MINI version 2 as much as the RG280V, and I hope the development side will continue thriving with the Miyoo MINI because it's a hot product and they really sell like hotcakes. I got it on Banggood, the 64GB version. If you want to check it out, links are in the description down below with discount codes for the RZN channel. Now, and this is not my first encounter with tiny handhelds, and actually they're my daily drivers. I take them with me many occasions when I'm traveling or when I'm driving around or have to wait in line for something. Now, the Miyoo MINI is perfect for that kind of occasion. You know, just whip it out, play some games. You can also turn off the display because it has a kind of display off function, and it will save a lot of battery life, but you'll have to pause the game because otherwise it will be running on the background. Now, let's talk a little bit about the I/O, and we already mentioned all the things that came with it. On the back, as you can see, we have all the trigger buttons we need for PlayStation 1 games, R1, R2, L1, and L2. That's nice for certain games. Not all of the games will utilize it, but it is a welcome thing. And the face of the handheld has a lot of buttons. It kind of is, no, I wouldn't say crampy because I never had cramped fingers and stuff like that, but it's not as, you know, divided out of each other compared to this one. It's kind of, you know, on each other in that way, but it's not bad at all. I liked it. I never had an issue with it. Maybe because I have resilient hands, even though I do have big hands and mostly those type of people get crampy hands very fast. I think I had no issue with it. The buttons are very nice and soft. I would say for fighter games this is a very nice handheld because the inputs are very seamless and very fast. I did not have any issues with the diagonals, and the ABXY buttons have the right amount of softness and are not clicky. The softness is very premium and not mushy at all. The menu button here is a click type of button, which is of course not an issue. The start and select as well. And the shoulder buttons are like a rubberized tactile feedback to them. That is about the inputs and outputs in terms of controls. Of course, we have a speaker grill over here, and to halfway I would say it sounds good. Above that it kind of gets scratchy, so don't do that. It has a potentiometer volume control. Up is plus and minus like that, as you can see. So I would suggest you to put it to the half. Of course, this is analog, and I love the continuous volume control instead of the digital step control that you have with the tactile buttons on some of the devices. We have three LEDs on the top, beside the power button and the display off button. One for charging and one for power on, the green LED, and one for a low battery indication. On the bottom we do have a USB Type-C port without data transfer, but USB Type-C is welcome at any time. You can transfer your data onto the SD card by just plugging it into the SD card reader that you have bundled with your device, so they thought about that. The 3.5mm audio jack does not carry display over it, so it's only for headphones and stuff like that, so that's great. You know, you can plug in headphones and enjoy the high quality sound that comes out of it to your headphones, because most of the retro games I did not experience back in the days with headphones, so that is a very welcome change. And music really is easy to dissect in that way when you use headphones, so I always liked headphones and 3.5mm audio jacks. Of course, no wireless headphones included. This has no Wi-Fi and no Bluetooth. That's something you need to know. On this side we don't have anything special. I really like the design of this device. is reminiscent of a DMG Game Boy, with the purple buttons. It's not the same color. It's kind of more beige and broken white, I would say, more dark and grayish beige type of color. It's very nice nonetheless. It does not exactly look like a Game Boy DMG in terms of coloring, but that is absolutely no problem because it feels really robust, and the plastic type is probably ABS as far as I can tell, and it's very premium. It feels nice and absolutely not low quality in my opinion. So the bezels also are really gorgeous. Let me turn on the screen just for you to see, and let's admire the screen together. It has a 2.5D polished bezels, and it is an OCA laminated screen, which means unlike the last iteration, it will not be that hazy because they listened to the critiques. And this here is a very beautiful screen. It does not wash out as much as you see on the camera, but it's really gorgeous and vibrant. Really, take my word for it. The panel and the lens do not have an internal reflection, so that means that the image is very nice and the colors pop really very beautifully. The pixel density is very high because the display is a 2.8 inch, which is tiny, IPS display with the resolution of 640 by 483 by 2 aspect ratio, and this is a very pixel dense screen, so all the retro games will look beautiful and the pixels are absolutely nothing, no tweaking needed to admire. It has a low amount of RAM memory, 128 MB RAM, but surprisingly, even PlayStation 1 games run very well with this low amount of RAM, so that's no issue. N64 does not run on this, nor is there any emulator for that, so just give up on that one. It runs everything up until PS1 really good, even though the specs don't indicate that, but you can take my word for it. And of course, the gameplay section of the video is coming soon. You can check out the timestamp if you want to skip ahead to that, but we'll be talking a little bit more about the operating system. I have to turn it back on. The operating system is very simple. It is a very snappy operating system. Really no lags, no issues going on. It's in English. That's something that's a blessing these days because some of the cheaper handhelds come with Chinese only. But from Banggood, where I got it from, it is in English and everything is sectioned very nicely. So when we go to settings, we have the brightness settings. I like to put it to the maximum, but I would say you can just turn it down also and save some battery life. We can change the languages, keys mapping is also able to change that, but you have to press menu to get out of that. So you can swap the buttons if you wanted to. BGM is for different themes. You can turn it down low so that it does not hurt your ears when you have the volume to the max for certain games, or to the 50% midpoint that I mentioned. Hibernating is to save power. I would assume that this is also just turning off the display, not really hibernating like a PC by halting processes and keeping it in the RAM memory and stuff like that, or the hard drive to copy it back to the RAM memory later on. Factory reset to reset all the settings. Device info to check also, more importantly in my opinion. The serial is not important, but you can check the SD card that it is populated 49 gigabytes from 58, which is plenty. You have some space to work with to put your own ROMs on there. The hardware test is to check out your inputs, so it's kind of a debug thing. You press menu and A to go back. Apps is important also as well. We have a file manager, like an OpenDinkux file manager, which is very useful. Beats of Rage is also here, so that you can play around with that. And you have a safe shutdown button over here as well. RetroArch is available, so you can go into there to check the RetroArch backends and change some settings, as well as load some chords and do the manual method of things with RetroArch. We have talked about that in the past, so this video is not for that. It's kind of an ease of use video, and I want to mention that. So it is available if you want to be meticulous in changing things and settings. to your own likes. The swap skin tool is just to swap all your themes. It kind of rotates through a set of themes on there. I don't know if you're able to add themes on your own because I haven't looked into that yet, but the themes are quite nice. What I noticed is that one of the themes says onion, so I'm not sure if onion is the type of custom firmware that's on here, but out of the box it came with the Miyoo MINI custom firmware with an onion theme on it, so that kind of raises my eyebrow. RetroArch here is not the app of RetroArch or the backend, but it kind of is a shortcut to everything that you need from RetroArch. It even emulates, which I did not mention before, it even emulates till CPS3 very well. It loads for a long time to get into it, but it works very well nonetheless. You have a game section where it splits everything by the system that you want to play. CPS3 was not in here and CPS stuff is not in there. Also, the other RetroArch part gives you the names of the emulators if you are comfortable with that and know more about those names like FB Alpha, Neo, and all those stuff. GPSP for Game Boy Advance, Gambate for Game Boy and Game Boy Color, DOSBox for DOS games. This is for NES. Easy RPG is an engine, and we have MAME, and we have libretro MGBA, an extra Game Boy Advance emulator in case some of the games malfunction on another one, but I did not encounter that at all. Neo Geo, Nestopia, a lot of beautiful emulators on here for such a teeny tiny device. Also, you can add favorites of your ROMs and have a recent tab for all the games over here and apps. So if I boot into Mario Advance 4, Mario Bros 3, it just goes in there, and since this is a Game Boy Advance, you can change these settings. You have an extra menu at the start where you can save and load themes, but it fails sometimes. So if that fails, you go to the native menu where you can change some settings and also load save states, and then it loads into the save state. Let me turn down the volume. And the native menu has other things you can change as well. It's really nice. If you want to have a closer look at the screen, I'm going to zoom in right now so you can check out the pixels a little bit. It is 3:2 aspect ratio, but the blacks of the screen are very beautiful, so you don't notice that at all because the bezels are so tiny. I'm going to zoom in right now. Here you can see how it looks. This is Game Boy Advance, and it is gorgeous in my opinion. Like, no issues at all. Beautiful pixels. I do not have to change any settings for it to look good. Out of the box, it looks great. Some of the handhelds need some tweaking to get the best user experience, but this one does not need that. And also, it's good to mention that the audio isn't bad at all at half intensity. But headphones is really the way to go if you want to experience the best quality of sound. Of course, Game Boy Advance isn't really going to do that justice, but SNES really, the sounds are beautiful from the headphone jack as well. Now, that was Game Boy Advance. Of course, I showed you how to save states. All of that is very homogeneous and similar to each other. Let's say Link to the Past is a SNES game. It has the same menu. You can also load it like this here, as you can see. The colors are beautiful, as you can see. Let's zoom in again to see the pixels. This is 4:3 aspect ratio, and it looks awesome. I don't think bilinear filtering is turned on, but the pixels are very nice and beautiful. Maybe it is kind of soft on the camera, but not in reality. It's crispy pixels on the 640 by 480 resolution screen with that beautiful pixel density. So let's turn on the volume a little bit more to see how high we can go till it turns kind of scratchy. It's not that bad, as you can hear. but I prefer to put it midway so that I wouldn't suffer from sudden sounds being too scratchy. Okay, let me just show you how to do a safe shutdown so that you don't corrupt your SD card. Of course, I do recommend you to use SD cards that are by reputable manufacturers, but you know, just to be safe, power it off like this, and it's a safe shutdown. Let's move on to the gameplay section. So it's a good thing that I can tell you guys with full confidence, this device is one of the devices that I will never sell off. I do sell some devices of mine, you know, if I don't really use it much, because having too many devices, in my opinion, is not very, you know, it's kind of wasteful in my opinion. So, but the RG280V is one of the devices I refuse to sell because its form factor really just is perfect for me. I love these tiny handhelds. I hope there is one of them that will be coming out with a bit more power, and somehow by a miracle the controls will be also good, let's say for N64 games and stuff like that. That would be a great thing to happen. But the Miyoo MINI definitely is a keeper. The shoulder buttons aren't that great, which is, you know, it's good that it's there, but you know, you can remap them as well in certain games, so it isn't as cumbersome as you might have expected. But the shoulder buttons aren't the best ones, I would say. Even on the RG280V, that was the same complaint that I had. But to be honest, it beats the RG280V in my opinion in everything in terms of hardware. Software, it still is not up to snuff, you know, with the RG280V. Some ports are still missing. That is not something we can really rush, but you know, I hope some developers will look into the Super Mario 64 port, which would really mean a lot if it was released on the Miyoo MINI. In my books at least. I think a lot of people also would appreciate that. Or even the Ocarina of Time port. If it ever gets released for Linux, then I hope to see a port of that on the Miyoo MINI. We will work our way around with the inputs and outputs and stuff like that for this device. You know, it has a bright future, in my opinion. That's why they made a version 2. The transparent versions are, as you can see on the screen, you have a black, smoky black one and an aqua blue one. Those are very interesting devices. If you like those colors, you might want to put off buying one of these yet until those are released. And there will be version 2 in all its glory as well. I really like this device. I told you what I disliked about it. I even like the updating method of this device. It's a little bit different than other devices that I've tested out. And I'll be making a video about me customizing and updating my Miyoo MINI in the coming future, after I review some other devices as well. I will not be abandoning the Miyoo MINI anytime soon. I'll be doing updates on this device because I just love it a lot. Links are in the description down below as always. Hope you liked the video and be part of the family if you want to. And I'll see you guys in the next video.